What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining me for our first stream of the year, January 5th. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope you didn't drink too much. No, I take that back. I hope you drink just enough to help you get through all of the corporate media drivel that we've all had to go through these last 2 years. And I almost forgot. It's like I forgot how much I loved MMA and boxing and fighting. And you just see the garbage that we've had to endure on television and radio and the media. And enough bad news. Enough bad news. We have plenty of news to cover already. Some of it just dropped about an hour and a half ago. I didn't even know this when I scheduled this stream. So we got some real exciting news there. I have some predictions for 2022. Some of you may have seen for just a moment, I had dropped a video this morning, and I dropped it. I was getting impatient, and I should never drop anything before 6 a.m. That's kind of my rule. And I was getting impatient, and honestly, it's like, I'm human. I like the dopamine hit just like anybody else. It was a rough day. I had a lot going on at work, and I'd already been working for 2-3 hours a little after 5 a.m. And I thought, man, I want to drop this video. I just want to see some of your guys' comments in there and likes and, get some of that dopamine hit. And it was too early for everybody. But then I thought, hey, I really have a lot more to talk about than, what I went over in this 10-minute video anyways. And I'm sure all of you guys have a lot to talk about and a lot to look forward to for 2022. So I figured let's just go live tonight. Chef Johnson, what's up in the house? Let's go. The drunken charge, Robert Kerrigan's, his family, let's go. Happy New Year's, guys. 2022, there's already an insane amount of news. We have Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane coming up. As much as the UFC is trying to sabotage Francis into not even showing up. No, I know there's two sides to every story, and I understand the UFC side on this as well. But I don't like everything that's going on right now. I know there's a lot of things behind the scenes that a lot of us don't see, including myself. But I just can't wait for that fight to happen. What's up, Snake Plissken in the house? I'm so fucking drunk right now, says Robert Kerrigan. All right, Robert Kerrigan, before you pass out, I was going to put our announcement up on the board for something. But before you pass out, I think maybe we should start taking a few calls. Well, we'll just put that up over there in the corner. Hopefully you guys can read that. Call in to give your opinion. 425-791-8730. PBR Street Gang in the house. Member top contender for 17 months. Premium members run this thing. I appreciate you guys so much. PBR Street Gang is kicking off the new year right. Well, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. First Amendment says, what's up, Mike? Joe Real, truth be told, in the house. Now it's First Amendment. I seen you... I started seeing this First Amendment pop up in comments and stuff, and it's like, it seems like I should know that person from the way they're commenting, but I couldn't remember. And that makes sense. You changed your YouTube name. So, thank you. Truth be told, Joe Real, First Amendment. Some people are so important they go by 3 names. No. That's why I gave my kids 4. They both have 2 middle names actually. It is young David is David Floyd Michael Benedict, and my daughter's middle names are Lynn Michelle. You got Francis or Cyril? I gotta go with Francis. I gotta go with Francis for a lot of reasons, and I like Cyril Gahn. It's not like I don't like him. He's one of those guys where it's just like, okay, he's there. He's a decent fighter. I'm not like this huge Cyril Gahn fan like a lot of people, and I'm not really quite sure what all the hype is. He did impress me against Derek Lewis. I didn't expect him to dismantle Derek Lewis that easily. I know he's a very technical kickboxer. Far as I've seen so far, he doesn't have much of a personality. Which, I mean, yes, this is the fight game, but we also come here to be entertained. So that is fairly important to me. But I have Francis, both in the hype game and in the fight game. PBR, how's the new year treating you? Says Robert. I'm so glad that you guys always get along in the chat and stuff. Oh, that's because I kicked the people out that didn't get along. But that leaves us with the cream of the crop. Nate or Dustin? I would take Dustin in that fight. From what I've seen, doesn't sound like Nate wants the fight. Unless he's updated on his Twitter. I'm just going to go to the Twitter of 209. I'm going to make a quick stop to 209 right now. And read you the last thing that I had seen him post. So I do follow him over there on the Twitter sphere, even though, Twitter's been pissing me off lately too. God, I might end up on Getter. I didn't want to end up there. I hate political stuff. But, so yeah, this is one day ago. Oh, and he's posted 3 hours ago a YouTube channel. So we'll have to check that out. Nathan Diaz says, I just talked to the UFC. I said, what's up with the DP fight? I want to fight ASAP, but they said Dustin sucks, and they don't want it. Sorry, Dustin, you suck. Hope to fight ASAP, though let's do this. P.S. Oliveira, you suck too. It was funny and cute for a long time. The gangster talk and walk. And I'm a big Diaz fan. I'm a big fan of both brothers. So, you can get on me if you want. But just know that coming in. That doesn't mean I'm not going to hold you accountable when I think you act like a jackass. And honestly, I think Nate Diaz is kind of acting like a jackass. But... okay, in the background here, I gotta see what's up with this video. Finishing 2021 with a bang. Oh, this is 5 days ago. I don't know why this... Oh, he just shared this. He just shared this on Twitter 3 hours ago, but the video is 5 days late. I was hoping he might have an update. All right, hey, that'd be good to call in 20 minutes, PBR. If I don't have the number back up at that time, remind me. Because nobody calls in a few minutes, I'm going to jump on to some other subjects. I just wanted to make sure and give everybody a chance to call in. Got a boatload of mushrooms on New Year's Eve. Went into 2022 with the trip. That sounds like the drunken charge, Robert Kerrigan. Ian Brewster, one of my best friends in the real world, in chat. What's up, man? Says, hey, brother, I know way off topic, but do you think we will ever get Diaz versus Conor McGregor 3 after Nate and Justin? Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year, my friend. Ian Brewster was one of our first guests that we had on here, former CFO of W1 MMA, which was the biggest martial arts, I believe the biggest martial arts organization over there in Canada at the time. He's introduced me to numerous guests over the years. Got to be good friends with Shoney Carter, and there was Matt Horwich and Art Davey. just Michelle Olds, just on and on. I mean, most of the guests, or a big majority of the guests that have been on the show, have been thanks to Ian Brewster. But do I think Diaz versus Conor McGregor 3 gets off? I think the UFC would be stupid not to, and everybody's on board. It seems like everybody's been on board for this fight. And Dana says, well, we can do that fight anytime. Well, you got one fight on Nate's contract left. I really hope so, Ian. It's the fight I probably want to see more than any fight out there. Their first and second fight are 2 of my favorite fights of all time. And, I really hope that we see that third one. So, but we do have some breaking news. Keep that number in the background. We'll put it back up, but we got some breaking news here for those that haven't seen it yet. A couple of matches have been announced for UFC 272. Peter Yan will finally get his chance to land another illegal knee to the head of Aljamain Sterling. No, he wants his belt back, and I think he's going to get it. Aljamain Sterling, your reign was short and boring, and I think it's going to come to an end here very soon. Then the co-main event for that one, I know this is already getting a lot of flack because Alexander Volkanovski's already got 2 wins over Max Holloway, but it's Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3. I thought Volkanovski easily won the first fight. I thought Max won the second. I watched it several times, and every time I was like, I could not figure out how to give Volkanovski 3 rounds. So I really do believe that Max should have gotten the nod in that second. And, the UFC just said, hey, we know what happened. This is the fight to make. And I do feel kind of bad for Volkanovski. All right, hey, we got a caller. Hello, you're on Fights of Friends. Hey, let me put you on the show, Jason. Good to hear from you, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. How have you been?
I'm doing good, man.
I don't think Francis should go to Bellator. We all know that you lose luster, you lose respect, you lose legitimacy when you go over to that organization. I think if Francis wants to have a boxing clause in his contract, he either needs to do something spectacular or retire from the UFC. I don't see any other way. And even if he does retire, the UFC will still own him in some way, shape, or form. I don't see it. I don't see it. What do you think?
It's hard to say because I don't know exactly what the financial structure is going on over there at Bellator. I know obviously, they're owned by Viacom, who has, $50 billion at their disposal. How much of that they want to put into growing Bellator right now, I'm not sure. I think it was the best move to go to Showtime. I actually think it's the best time also to drop the name. I think they have Showtime Championship Boxing. I say you have no name. You just make it Showtime MMA. Showtime, Showtime, the face of MMA.
Well, if they did that, if anything, that would light a huge fire under Dana's keister to improve and maybe broaden the UFC's horizons. Because just that name alone, that would itch at Dana every night. You go to sleep. Showtime MMA? What the hell? Showtime? He'd be thinking about his lawyers needing to be thinking of stuff to do to grow the company and make it better. I honestly think, I don't know. If I was Dana, you're going to have those cross-promotional problems. You're going to have those cross-sport problems with boxing, with MMA. They're always going to hate each other because of who's running it now is still who was running it 30 years ago when they were fighting it being regulated whatsoever. I do agree that you don't take the champion from your sport and fight and fight them in another completely different sport, because you lose. If you lose, you lose that rank, you lose that status. And I don't know. I don't know. I think Dana is foolish, especially in the heavyweight division. I think Dana is foolish, especially given boxing's status right now. They're a little lean. Boxing's a little lean. It's not 1985 anymore. I think both sports are foolish not to come up with some cross-sport, cross-promotional training program, minor league system, someplace for the prospects or even the champions to test the waters. And that way it would make more sense for both promotions to bring a champion from MMA into boxing.
Yeah, well, thanks for helping me transition into that next subject, too. I'm glad you... I don't know if you seen me pop that video up there this morning, and then I was like, this was probably bad timing. I'm going to go ahead and delete it and do a live stream tonight.
You did fine. That's what it said. I mean, that's the title under the video right here. It says Francis Ngannou should go to Bellator.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he should do better. I think his management should do better. I think he should put away the early 2000s hip-hop rap lifestyle that he's trying to live with the Lamborghinis and the tigers and lions and bears. Oh, my. You know,
that was so much fun when Mike Tyson did it, though.
Well, but he's not Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson beat Larry Holmes. Mike Tyson beat Trevor Berbick. Mike Tyson beat everybody. Francis Ngannou didn't beat everybody. Stipe beat everybody. Stipe beat every big bad wolf that was out there until the wolf got smarter. Until the wolf didn't fly into Vegas or New York week of from France. That's what depleted Francis so much in the first place, was he was still jet lagged when he went into the cage.
Oh, and the UFC is still upset with him over that. I think a lot of this resentment still stems from that, because they promoted him over Stipe. They really hurt their ties with Stipe. Remember, Stipe wouldn't even allow Dana to put the belt around his waist after that win.
I think Stipe is way too overlooked just because he's got that blue-collar background. You know, us Midwesterners, he's from Ohio, I'm from Central Illinois. Us Midwesterners, we just, you know, we want to clock in, we want to do the job, and we want to clock out. Or if we're getting paid by the job, we want to show up, knock it out, and leave. And all that extra stuff we're just not interested in.
Yeah, he's my favorite fighter, has been for a long time, because I think he puts out a good example for, the kids that are watching this, and the adults. Adults need examples too, I guess. But
I don't see Ngannou being. He's a freight train. Stipe beat the best. Stipe beat peak Verdum. I mean, the eight-limbed assassin. He was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master. Muay Thai, all that. Fabricio Verdum was the most, after Frank Mir fell off bad, but after Frank Mir started waning, Fabricio Verdum was the most dangerous heavyweight in the world. I mean, as far as skill set, what they could do, I would follow that up with, just because he wrestles so good, Alistair Overeem. Stipe fought everyone, and Francis has never had to fight Francis. And I hate to say it, but Cyril Gane is no Francis.
Yeah, and I was glad you mentioned Larry Holmes, because that made me think, I'm like, who does Cyril Gane remind me of? Cyril Gane, in my mind, would end up being boxing's Larry Holmes. He's going to beat everybody. Nobody really cares whether they watch the fight or not, but nobody's going to beat him for a long time. Without Francis. If Francis is not in the division.
Oh, and if Francis isn't in the division, I mean, I don't know what Cyril Gane done on the ground.
Yeah, he's Larry Holmes. If I think if Francis Ngannou is not there, because there's nobody to fight.
No, absolutely not. But I do see a 245-pound Stipe beating the dog out of a 250-pound Cyril. I do. I honestly do. I don't see Stipe falling for low kicks or switch kick feints. I think Derek Lewis I don't know. Derek Lewis might have gotten a little Derek Hollywood Lewis on us. He's got those salons. He was in Houston. He was comfortable. I don't believe the Cyril Gane hype train. I know the skill set is there, but what's he done on his back?
Well, I'm the same way. I think it seems like he's overhyped as well. You're the first one I think I've talked to that agrees with me on that. So yeah, I agree. I take Francis in the title match.
Anderson Silva was the man until he fought Chael Sonnen and he spent 20 minutes on his back. You know, I mean, that's my thing. Until you fight a Curtis Blades, until you fight a Daniel Cormier in the heavyweight division, until you fight a Fabricio, holy cow, Verdum in the heavyweight division, anybody could, Mike, you could knock me out. Like if you swung the right punch and my chin was exposed, you could knock me out. I mean, you want to impress me, put a guy up against the cage, dirty box him until he submits and falls to the ground. You get on top of him and you dominate him. You want to prove to me you're an all-around fighter and you're a true champion. Win everywhere. Win everywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree. Makes sense. Hey, thanks for the call, Jason. Appreciate your time.
Hey, Mikey, I'll let you go, sir. Love the videos. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Thanks again, Jason Keegan, for calling in. You know, he pretty much said everything I was thinking. I did say that I wanted to see if, that Francis should probably go to Bellator. I don't know how long of a contract I think he should sign, maybe just to prove a point. But I do think they could do something over there with Bellator, but they need to change the name. It's time. We're still on the Blessed Express. Love Max, but don't want to see Volkon versus Max 3. What's up, Chris Jackson? Happy New Year, my friend. That's what we were talking about before, is that, yeah, Max is going to get that title shot. Who else is there, though? Who else is there? I understand what you're saying, Chris, but I'm going to bring up the UFC website and the rankings right now. Let's bring up the rankings, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot because, I completely agree. But, I do want you to tell me, who in this division do you think he should fight? That's one of the biggest problems here at featherweight is, okay, I just kind of answered my own question. I guess it's Yair Rodriguez because of stylistic matchup, but he just lost that match to Max. I was okay, with somebody getting a title shot after a loss when it was controversial and we really thought that the wrong guy got the nod, and it was kind of like, okay. And I do think he should, I do think he should get that shot eventually. So I wouldn't be upset if Yair got it, even after a loss. Other than that, Calvin Kattar. Yeah, Calvin Kattar, he's the fifth guy there. Max just beat the shit out of him. How can you do that? Giga Chikadze, he's over at 8. He's going to be fighting Calvin this weekend. I expect Giga to beat Calvin. They'll probably switch spots. Korean Zombie, he's been hanging out there for a while, Chan Sung Jung, but it seems like as soon as he gets into a position, to really be a contender, he gets taken out. Dan Ige, he just lost. He's coming off of a loss, 50K. Dan Ige, is Dan coming off of a loss? I was thinking he just fought Aldo for some reason. Who am I thinking of? He just lost to Josh Emmett. Wrong weight class, I was thinking. Yeah, he just lost to Josh Emmett, though. And I don't think Josh Emmett is really there, though. to be honest, for a title shot. That's Jason. You know your stuff. I know a little about little, my friends. Says Jason. Thank you. But yeah, I am on the blessed train to make to be short. I want Volkon versus Cejudo. It would be fun, but I know it won't happen. It could. It could happen. I guess if anybody's going to fight in that division, Cejudo coming up, I would give him as good a shot as anybody. And is anybody really a lightweight that could come down? Lightweight is so competitive, but I don't know that there's anybody. Most of the top lightweights, I think you would see going up before they came down. I mean, maybe Diego Ferreira goes back to 145, but I mean, he's ranked at number 15 right now, coming off a loss, down 3, coming off a bad loss, by the way, and a missed weight cut. So scratch that. I guess he couldn't even make 155. He's probably not going to make 145. But yeah, Volkon versus Cejudo, I think that would be fun. I would love to see Cejudo back in the sport. I mean, I understand why he retired when he did, I guess, but I thought he had more to give. I know he put his body through a lot on that wrestling run. You get that UFC, or you get that long wrestling run in the Olympics, and then you go into the UFC, and people are like, oh, he only had, so many fights in the UFC. It's like, yeah, he won two weight classes. He was champion in 2 weight classes. But a lot of people thought, hey, he still didn't fight enough fights. He fought quite a bit before he got better. Before he beat Demetrius Johnson the second time. Remember that first time, Demetrius Johnson mopped the floor with him. So he had to get out. He was always a great wrestler. He had to go back out there and get good at MMA. And, then he won that one. Of course, he, shattered TJ Dillashaw, 125-pound dying TJ Dillashaw, but still shattered him. I like that, Chris Jackson. I would like to see Cejudo come back. I like listening to him over on Mike Tyson's podcast, though. He's the co-host over there now on Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. PBR Street Gang, I don't know if you're still in there. If anybody wants to call in and give their opinions on anything, 425-791-8730. I do want to get back to Bellator and Francis, though. And more so Bellator, so we can kind of transition into boxing. Bellator made an announcement, what was it, last year? Bellator MMA is on Showtime. Bellator is on Showtime. Let's switch that around. Take away the Bellator! Bellator, get the fook out of here. Nobody likes the name. Nobody's ever liked the name. Does anybody like this name? If anybody likes this name, please call in and tell me why you like this name. I will ban you from this channel forever. No, I'm just joking. Of course not. I would like to know if somebody actually likes that name, though. 425-791-8730. Call in with your questions and opinions. But I think Showtime MMA and Jason Keegan, I thought, said it well. Said if Showtime did that, it's going to be like, that might give Dana, he might lose a little sleep. Dana seems pretty comfortable in his position lately. I like the new Dana for the most part, outside of the Francis Ngannou negotiations. By the way, I'm the voice of Bump Cola on the game called Happy's Humble Burger Farm. Mark Plyer and lots of others covered it. Hey, awesome. Congrats, Jason Keegan. Why don't you like the Bellator name? Chris Jackson says, I don't mind the name. Nobody knows what it means. And nobody knows what it means. And, I mean, it's kind of grown on me a little bit. I don't hate it. Oh, look who we got here. I think we got Mr. PBR Street Gang calling in.
Hello?
Hello, you're on Fights with Friends.
Hey, MMA Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, this is PBR Street Gang.
Hey, I figured that was you. You said you'd call. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Looking forward to some fights in 2022, man. This is.
Me too. Me too. I'm so. 2022 is going to be a hell of a year for fights. I got a feeling that this year we're going to see some hell of a good fights. 2021 was a hell of a good year for some fights. We got some really good fights in 2021.
Yeah, I think we got spoiled for sure.
That's a good. That leads me to my first question to you. What was your hands down, not top 2, not top 3, not top 5, but your best top fucking 2021 fight? Your hands down best fight of 2021.
Well, I mean, hands down, if you're talking about fighting, it's definitely Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3.
Okay, all right. Let me rephrase that. MMA, UFC fight.
I did that to buy myself some time because I was thinking through all the great fights.
I know. As soon as I said that, I was just like, let me. Which one? What would be my favorite UFC fight for 2021? There's so many.
I mean, Yair versus Max was good. Brian Ortega versus Volkonovsky was great. I had this. I was actually going to do an award show, and I can't believe I can't think of what my fight of the year was. All of a sudden I'm drawing a blank.
You know what one for me? I'll throw one out there. Nico versus now that I wanted to say, who's the Brazilian? His nickname
Vicente
is the
Luque?
Gator. I'm sorry?
Vicente Luque?
No. His nickname is the Gator. He always does like the alligator.
Oh, Jacare Souza.
Yeah. When Nikkei did that, he like folded him over. Did you
Was
see
that Nico
fight?
or was that Kevin Hall? I remember Kevin Holland fighting him.
It was like this wicked knockout where he like folded him over. Like it was like, oh my God, did you just like break his spine? I thought for sure it was Nico Price.
Huh.
I might be mistaken.
I could just be forgetting. There was so many fights.
So many. Okay, all right. Let's move on to my next question too, because I got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
What would be your most anticipated 2022 fight?
Oh, easy. Nate Diaz versus Conor 3. I've wanted to see that fight ever since the second one.
Who do you think's going to win? Who do you want to win?
It depends on if Conor's 100% healed. It's going to be a lot easier, but I mean, I think Nate can take him. Honestly, I think Nate might have won the second one. It was very close. I was surprised that was a unanimous decision. But
do you think Nick will fight again in 2022?
I kind of hope not, because Nick doesn't want to fight. I really want to see him fight, but I don't want to see somebody fight who doesn't want to fight.
Every time I fucking think about Nick Diaz, I get so pissed off about. We got so fucking robbed with him getting banned for fucking weed. Like, we got robbed for something so. Like, I have no problem with people getting banned for serious things. If you've done something bad that we all agree on is bad.
Yeah.
Like if everybody comes up with a list and A is bad, B is bad, C is bad, if we all come up with a list of things that are bad and we all sign off on it. But weed, I don't think he should get banned for it. Nick got banned in his prime, and every time I think about that, I get pissed off because, man, Nick, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Nate. But Nick in his prime, when Nick was in his prime, and he got he got banned in his prime. Those years when he got banned, I think the fights that he could have gotten matched up with back then were just, I think, could have been just stellar.
Oh, I think so too. And I mean, this is probably a controversial statement, but I would say Nick Diaz is the closest comparison MMA has had to Muhammad Ali. I mean, protesting the war in Vietnam, and Nick with the war on drugs, because he didn't actually have to sit out that whole time. He was suspended originally for 5 years. Then they cut it down. He could have sat out just the year, and he's like, no, I'll sit out the whole 5 years if they're not going to get rid of this stupid rule. And if it wasn't for the Diaz brothers, not only would they still be popping fighters and suspending them for marijuana in MMA, I think we would still be in the exact same place with marijuana in sports and maybe in our nation. I really just think that they did so much.
Did you ever listen to any of him and the commission court case that he had when it was like every question was no comment. No comment.
Yeah,
no comment.
I did. I remember something like I plead the fifth. Yeah.
I was listening to it. I watched a lot of it because it was like he was I really didn't like him whenever I first got introduced to him. I really didn't like his style back when he was in Elite XE and Strike Force.
Yeah.
I totally respected it. His boxing coach, what's his name? Richard Perez, I think his name is.
I think so.
Anywho, his boxing jiu-jitsu combination, Nick Diaz's boxing, his boxing leads to a stand-up. I'm sorry, his ground game, his jiu-jitsu, and his jiu-jitsu. He's not afraid to go to the ground. So his stand-up is awesome. It's just so it's so good. It's just watching him, and you can see it in his matches. When fighters when they get hit with that like fifth hit in an 8-punch combo, and they're just like, what's happening to me? Oh my God! And then they go down, and when he gets Takanori Gomi and that Gogo Plata, it's just like, oh my God!
What a fight! Yeah, that was one of my favorite fights, and I think he was high for that fight on marijuana. Honestly, I mean, his eyes were so red.
It got turned into a no contest, and he was like hired a guy. they said literally to have that much. I was listening to a Joe Rogan episode, and Rogan was talking about it because he's a big Nick Diaz fan, and Rogan was saying, correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a while since I've seen this episode, but I believe Rogan said something along the lines of, to get this much THC in your bloodstream, he had to have been literally smoking a joint on the way to the ring.
I don't remember that episode. I don't know that I've never ever heard. I didn't even realize that got overturned to a no contest, because I know Pride explicitly told people that they would not test for steroids and other things.
I believe that one did, because I forget which episode it was. I forget which guest Rogan was talking to, who he was talking to, but that episode came up, or that match between Takanori Gomi and Nick Diaz came up, and I want to say the amount that the fact that Nick was extremely high in that match, and the fact that it got turned over to a no contest. I'm sure somebody can look it up. I'm on my phone talking to you, so I unfortunately I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. But anyway, I'm moving on to my final question, and I'll let somebody else call in. Do you think? Well, it's kind of a two-part question. One, first part, how man, Aldo looked great in his last match, man.
Yeah, he did.
He looked awesome, man. He looked like Aldo of old. He looked really good. And do you think he's got a serious shot at another title run?
He definitely does. I see him beating. I think he can beat anybody in that division, except for Peter Yan. I mean, Peter Yan dominated him so much. He has been throwing the leg kick back in there. So, that would make that fight different. He was good for 3 rounds against Yan, and then Yan really started to hurt him. I think he's definitely got the run. Whether he can get past Yan, I think, is another thing.
Right.
I remembered my fight of the year, though. I don't know how I could forget this. It was Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje.
Oh, right, yeah. What a fucking fight. That was just a brutal... Yeah, that was just a... Oh, yeah. Oh, and I have to say, man, the Shui... every now, like, whenever I feel bad, like, every now and then, whenever I'm having, like, a bad day or anything, I'll just... I've got it bookmarked. It's you saying... And here we are, and here we go, and it's you doing this. It's you just saying, and here we are, and here we go, and it's you pouring that beer in that shoe.
Oh yeah.
The look on your face, it's you looking down at your shoe. And you pour that
I
beer
was dreading that so much. As soon as I said it, I thought, "Oh, why did I say that? This is going to be so nasty." And I thought, "Oh man."
Like, if you're going to say it, I'm going to do it.
I thought, how does everyone not get sick from this? But then I thought about it later. I was like, oh, the alcohol probably kills a lot of the germs. But I wish...
There's that much alcohol in beer. I just don't think there's that much alcohol in beer.
probably not enough. I guess if it was whiskey...
where you're at, how much alcohol is in beer? Because here in Texas, it's like 6% alcohol.
Yeah, it was like a 6% beer. The one that I threw in there.
Right. I don't think they're... 6%, that's not enough to kill most foot foam, I don't think, my friend.
No, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I will say it wasn't as bad as I had dreaded that it was going to be.
I could have amped that super chat out fast, and my thumbs were like quivering. I was just all like, get it right, first time, don't get that back. Come on, get it right. I could.
Oh, what a moment for Tai Tuivasa, and I can't believe how many people he had in the crowd doing shoeies. I'm just thinking, man, the CDC's got to be watching this, just shitting their pants.
Well, did you see the jerk? Did you see the jerk on the way out? Were you watching that? I was watching it as I was listening to you. I was watching the fight. The jerk that he did the shoey out of. The dude dumped a whole bottle of Tabasco sauce in the shoey before Ty did it.
Wait, and the guy that gave it to Tai Tuivasa dumped tobacco sauce in it?
Yeah, right before Ty grabbed the shoe.
No way. Oh, I completely missed that.
Yeah, go back and look at it. And I'm just like, man, that's a bold move, because that guy could just be having a bad moment and just yank you up and just like snatch you and break your freaking neck.
Oh man! And
he dumps a whole bottle right. He gives it to him, and right before Ty does it, he dumps a whole bottle of hot sauce in it.
If I was the guy that was handing the shoe to Tai Tuivasa and somebody leaned over and do that, I would punch him myself.
Yeah, Ty does. He makes a little face, and he like looks up at the guy, and he makes a little face at him, and he's just like, because he's just like, man, if I was just in a bar, I'd just like break your face right now. But
that's so dangerous, because he's already at the mercy of the fans, trusting whatever they're putting in that shoe, and then to put something else in there, that's disgusting.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, yeah, I got to go back and watch that now.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was just like, man, that's a bold move right there. Because what if he just like has a knee-jerk reaction and just totally caves your face in, because that's a heavyweight. That's not just a, that's not Uriah Faber. I mean, any of those dudes could just totally, whoop your ass.
I wouldn't want to get hit by Uriah Faber either, but yeah,
No.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, he's twice as big as Faber, literally.
Oh, talk about Uriah Faber, and not to hog up the airways. I'll get off right after I get done with this. But I went back and I watched the what do you call it? The Contender Series of
the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, the Ultimate Fighter of Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten that Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber called that.
Yes, yeah, I loved that season. That was the last season of Ultimate Fighter that I watched, because I watched every single episode with the alternate commentary of Faber and Snoop.
And listening to Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber call that match, I was in stitches. I was laughing my ass off the whole time. I was just like, oh my God, this is the funniest shit ever, listening to them call that. Because Snoop Dogg's the funniest thing anyway, right?
Yeah.
But listening to him call that match, it was just all like, oh my God, I need to be drunk for this, because this is just funnier than hell. But anyway, thanks for all the fights, all the fight action in 2021, and looking forward to hearing what you got in 2022, my friend.
Hey, thanks for calling in, supporting the channel. Always good to hear from you, my friend. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Later, dude.
Bye. Adam from Allen in the house. What's up, Adam? Says Nick versus Gomi is a great fight. Jason says it was criminal to do that to Nick. Criminal. I agree. And Chimu says, I bet John Jones is praying Francis leaves the UFC. That's a good point. And I got a tidbit on John Jones here in just a minute. That reminds me, something Luke Thomas brought up on his show that, really, really blew my mind. If you guys listen to Last Morning Combat, you probably know what I'm going to talk about, but maybe everyone doesn't. Chris Jackson says Aldo isn't active enough to best Dillashaw. He's going to need to be as active as he was in his last fight against Rob Font. I don't know why I mixed up Dan Ige and Rob Font there, but it's against Rob Font. Pulse Reloaded says, Mikey, what's going on, my friend? Happy New Year. Okay, speaking of John Jones real quick before I forget. So he's mentioning that I bet John Jones is praying Francis leaves the UFC. So here's the deal with John Jones, something that Luke Thomas brought up. He said with this new USADA, and I can't believe I haven't thought of this, with this new USADA rule where they, it's kind of a private suspension under the drug rules. He said, it's getting real close to 2 years since we've seen John Jones inside the cage. How do we know he wasn't suspended for a USADA violation this entire time? And, they kept it private. And that is possible. I don't know what the time frame is. I know there's a certain time frame now that they've said that they will not announce the violation publicly until after they've had so long, to clear their name. But I thought that was a very, very interesting take, and I guess that's why Morning Combat won MMA Show of the Year in the 2021 awards. Well, guys, I hope I get voted. I hope this show and this community gets voted for MMA Show of the Year. It would be nice to have a co-commentator more often. I like having Billy on here. He hasn't been able to get on here as much. We've had a couple of commentators on here. I guess co-commentators, I guess I run them all off. So maybe I won't ever won the MMA Show of the Year. But no, UFC 272. 2 fights that we've already seen, so it's not not as much to talk about as there might be otherwise. We already know kind of what Volkanovsky versus Holloway 3, I think, is going to look like. Volkanovsky could have gotten better some. Max got better after the first fight, which who the heck would have thought that at that point in his career that, he would have came out and put on such a different performance. But I am excited to see that fight. I hope somebody actually finishes it this time. And then, of course, Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. To me, this is Roy Jones Jr. versus Montel Griffin all over again. When Montel Griffin was, winning a few rounds against Roy, making it look competitive, and then, Roy lands that uppercut when Montel Griffin's actually down on a knee, and Roy said later, I always wondered why Roy hit him. He said, well, the guy was so short, I didn't realize I'd knocked him down. And I believe Roy. I don't know why he would lie about that. But he hit him when he was down. Montel Griffin played it up, acted like he was knocked out. You had a similar thing there with Aljamain. It's like, yeah, did Aljamain get hit with an illegal knee? Yes. Was he rocked? Was he hurt? Probably. Did he put on an incredible acting gig? Absolutely. And I think a lot of people had more of a problem with that than if he just quietly said, hey, I can't continue. And then to continue to play with the antics online, and it's just, it got really cringy. Really cringy. Chamu says, oh wow, I didn't hear that. It shouldn't be private. I don't know how long it's private for, Caruso Chimu. But I know it happened. I think a lot of it was to do with the Sean O'Malley thing, actually, because Sean O'Malley actually got cleared, but ended up spending a significant amount of time under USADA violation, and then they ended up finding what was going on in the supplements. Same thing happened with Yoel Romero. Of course, he had the supplement issue with 6 Stars, now known as Yoel Romero Supplements, after they were forced to give him all of his money, all their money. No, it's actually not known as Yoel Romero Supplements. I think it was 6 Star. I don't want to slander anyone, but I thought it was 6 Star Performance. Wouldn't be surprised as John Jones in the Illuminati. I like that. I like that. That's funny. He could be. Who knows? If Max loses, he's going to 55, says Pulse Reloaded. Yeah, I expected Max to go to 155 for a really long time. And then when he fought and he got inserted into that interim fight against Dustin Poirier, I don't know if it's because Dustin is such a big 155er and actually, knocking on the door of welterweight. But I think he'd have to pack on some muscle. For sure. I think you're going to have to make a more of a concerted effort to build a lightweight body, because that was one of my favorite fights of all time. And that was my fight of the year in the same year that Israel Adesanya fought Kelvin Gastelum on the same card, actually. And, that was still my fight of the year. But when Dustin hit Max, you could just see the difference in the power. And it's amazing that Max took the shots that he did. I actually thought there for a while that Dustin was going to finish him. And then Max, that gas tank kind of came back and made it a really good fight. Dustin, of course, got the decision. Jones party at the Bayview Grove. I love this. We got to start. I love this. Thank you, Adam. We got to start like a segment for John Jones and the Illuminati. I wish I could do the animation like Tommy Toho does. And there's one more. There's one guy that's a lot more popular than him. The guy with the Middle Eastern name. I know I hate to say it like that, but I can't remember his name all of a sudden. I think it might be Muhammad something. But anyways, yeah, I wish I was good at that animation. I've actually been working a little, working around a little bit in Paint, and I was gonna show you guys a little bit of my art skills. Keep in mind I was high on edibles when I did this, but you know, I'm gonna share it with you guys anyways. This was just on the Microsoft Paint because I'm apparently not smart enough to figure out how to work Adobe, even though we get it for free from my wife's work. Let's see, where is it here? Oh, this is way too much build up for such a horrible art piece. You're gonna see this here. Oh, that's actually Sean O'Malley's hair. I'm sorry, that's I just didn't finish the face part, but Sean O'Malley's hair, or the water system outside the Monsanto plant. That Middle Eastern dude makes fun. Yeah, he does. And now I feel bad calling him the Middle Eastern dude, though. I really feel that feels really racist, actually. Now I gotta look up what this guy's name was, and it is a Muhammad. Mojahed Fudialet. I think that's the name. He just dropped he's dropped a couple of videos. I don't know why I'm not getting his notifications. I know I'm subscribed. I have not gotten one of his notifications in a long time, but he's got a Dana White meets Francis Ngannou at dinner, and Tony and Chandler wants to fight. Oh, I didn't realize Tony and Chandler were talking. I don't like that fight for Tony, if I'm going to be honest. But back to Francis Ngannou for a moment, and a few things. A couple people asked me why I don't like the Bellator name so much. I mean, I don't hate it so much as it just doesn't have a ring. And every time I say Bellator, everybody's like, oh, that, if they know what it is, even among hardcore fans, they're like, oh, that B League. Oh, that. I think they've done as much to tarnish that name with what they've done as the name itself. I think the name was never great. It just never caught on. I guess I don't hate the actual word Bellator as much, and I can see what they were trying to do there, like the Roman Gladiator thing, which I really love, by the way. One day, I want to go to an MMA match in the Roman Colosseum. I will do whatever I can. If they ever reopen the actual Roman Colosseum and have an MMA match in there, I will do what I can to get in there for that. So I like that part of it. But I think a rebranding... Sorry, guys. I was trying to remember where the hell I put my water at. Here we go. I think a rebranding and a lot of advertisement, it's not going to lose any fans. It's not going to say, where'd Bellator go? Shit, well, it's not on Paramount Network anymore. I guess that's not around anymore. But I think a lot of good advertising and just say Showtime MMA, a lot of people are going to see that, and they're not even going to remember Bellator. They're going to be like, oh, I like UFC. And now Showtime's getting into MMA? Wow, what's going on here? They got championship boxing and they have MMA. Boom. I don't know. I think it's a good move myself. But Francis going over to Bellator, the only reason I said this, that he should go to Bellator right now, is because I think Showtime should make a synergy between Showtime Championship Boxing and MMA. Still two separate things, if you will, but you can have fighters cross over so much more. You can have Francis, you can actually build him up right, because you can sign him to a long contract. You can have him with Bellator and Showtime Championship Boxing So because he has such power, because he is so entertaining, I think that you can actually build him up in boxing and not put him against Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, or even Dillian White, right out of the gate. I think you can put him against, you're not going to be putting him against guys in the professional debut, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, you can put him against, guys that are in that 15 to 20 range. Guys to bring him along the right way, where in like a year, he's fighting like a Luis Ortiz, maybe 4 fights in. And I really think 7 to 8 fights in, he could be fighting one of those champions. He could be fighting Usyk or Wilder or one of the former champions like Andrew Ruiz. But I think it's going to be a little while. If you want him to have a legitimate shot, if you don't want him to be some 10-1 underdog. But that's just my opinion. Can't remember his name either. Oh, the Bodog name was strange. Bodog. Yeah, what the hell did that have to do with MMA? It had an interesting ring to it, but yeah, I mean, I guess that was the name of the company, and then they just decided to do MMA. Showtime for me works. I mean, everybody knows Showtime as the network. We had Anthony Pettis, and Sergio Pettis is already over there in Bellator MMA, but you had Anthony Showtime Pettis, you had the Showtime Kick, and Jimmy Lennon Jr., when he comes out for boxing, he says, "It's showtime." I think everybody's going to understand it. They're going to get it. When they hear Showtime MMA, like, oh, I know what this is. So, I do want to talk a little about boxing. You guys have any more opinions on anything for MMA, though? Before we go to boxing, let's bring up, I want to bring up the UFC rankings, and you guys stop me if we get on something that you really want to talk about in these rankings, any divisions. Just throw it out there and we'll stop and we'll slow down. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of brush over the divisions, starting with women's flyweight. I've heard a lot of rumor that an atomweight division is going to come on. I just don't see the support for that. Though, I mean, Michelle Waterson would be your biggest star there, and I think she's towards the end of her career. So, I mean, sorry guys, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. She's actually there at strawweight, which is 115. I don't know why this is out of order. Oh, because it goes, I see, it's left to right here. So we'll start with women's strawweight. Rose Namajunas, Zhang Weili. Rose, she's in a very competitive division, but the problem is, I mean, she's got a similar division to a lot, problem to a lot of these other champions. Similar to where Volkonovsky's sitting, although she has 2 top contenders and she's beaten them both. She's beaten them both twice. She just beat Zhang Weili twice, who's the number 1 contender. I mean, we could do Carla Esparza again, I guess. Where is Joanna Jędrzejczyk on this? Why is she not even in the rankings? Who did she piss off? I think I remember hearing something about them removing her from the rankings, but I didn't think they'd actually do it. But she's, Weili, Zhang, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and Rose Namajunas. Those are the best 3 women's strawweight in the world, without a doubt, in my opinion. But I don't know where else she goes there. Marina Rodriguez, I mean, she is very good. I don't know that she really gives Rose much of a shot, though. Rose is, I think she's maybe the most underrated long-reigning champion, definitely, in all of MMA. Stipe deserves his rematch. What the fook? Thank you, Robert. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to heavyweight, too. Same kind of deal with Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, who's going to fight her? Fucking Lamar Murphy? Lamar Murphy's ranked number 3. Does anyone think that Lamar Murphy will ever be champion? Or Lauren Murphy, excuse me. I can't even say her name right. But Lauren Murphy, no. That's not going to happen. Caitlin Kagan, she's had her shot. Jessica Andrade is probably, the best chance there in the short term. Macy Barber maybe gets good enough in the long term. Roxanne Modafferi, I mean, she's been in women's MMA since like 1995. Jessica I has PTSD every time she hears the name Valentina Shevchenko. I don't know what the hell to do with that division either, except for we're going to go into the bantamweights here. Valentina Shevchenko should go up and fight Juliana Pena if Juliana Pena wins a rematch against Amanda Nunes. Anyway, about it, even though Shevchenko's a little small for 135, I just don't see her having a challenge at 125. I think it's an interesting match with her and Holly Holm. I think it's an interesting match with her and Miesha Tate. I think it's an interesting match with her and Juliana Pena. And I wouldn't mind seeing the third fight against Nunes. A lot of people thought Shevchenko won that third fight, and I thought you definitely could have given it to her. I don't know. I didn't. I think I did give it to Nunes. It was very close. It's been a long time since I watched the fight. Let's go backwards in the men's division real quick. Brandon Moreno fighting Davison Figueiredo for the third time coming up here. That's another one of those. It's kind of like, who is Brandon Moreno going to fight? Eventually, he's going to fight Manel Kape, and I think eventually Manel Kape could end up being the champion here at flyweight if he gets those weight loss issues behind. Manel Kape, by the way, he's fought 4 times since coming into the UFC. He fought 4 times in like 6 months last year. So I think he's a great prospect. I watched him over there in Ryzen. He's really fun. Amanda did beat her twice. A lot of people thought Valentina won the second one, though. So that's the argument for a third. It's a similar argument to what we have with Volkonovsky and Max Holloway. Kai Kara-France did look really, really good against Cody Garbrandt, who is nowhere to be found in the rankings. Brandon Royval, I mean, he's pretty good there too. Coming up there. Askar Askarov, that's going to be the next big challenge, though, for whoever gets out of Moreno and Figueiredo. I think Moreno beats Figueiredo again, and I think Figueiredo moves up to what I think is the deepest division in MMA right now, and that's the Bantamweight Division. This is a division that when TJ Dillashaw walked away a little over 2 years ago, nobody's seen anybody beating him. I mean, he was as dominant a champion as Max was before Alexander Volkanovsky came out. As Rose is at strawweight, as Israel is at middleweight. I mean, it just seemed like nobody was going to beat him. And then Peter Yan comes in and is just a holy terror. And I would actually, I would favor him against TJ Dillashaw. Now, Jose Aldo, after dropping down to 135, has a resurgence of his career. Corey Sandhagen, I still think it could be the future of that division. That guy is so talented. Rob Font is always fun to watch. Had a little bit of a trip against Jose Aldo, but had an incredible year before that. Rob Velishvili, a lot of people think he is a future champion here at Bantamweight. Dominic Cruz has only lost 2 championship fighters in his entire career. I mean, this top 7 it's a murderer's row. It's like lightweight used to be. And then Marlon Vera there at 8, he just keeps getting better. He's got that win over Sean O'Malley. I know a lot of people say, oh, yeah, it was, Sean O'Malley was hurt. Whatever. But Garban's last fight was a downer. In his Blue Chew commercial, he made it to the second round at least. Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. I gotta post. I have to pin that. Thank you for that. TJ was on the juice. Yeah, and that's true. And that's a big part of it, too. But there was not always killers then. Even Ricky Simon coming up. This is a guy that's very underrated, though. Song Yadong. This guy's young. He's only 24 years old. He has a split. He has a victory already over number 9th ranked Marlon Moraes. Some of these guys, I think, are no longer going to be in the UFC here soon. Rafael Assunção probably get cut after losing his next fight. Pedro Munoz is right there too, even though he dropped Dominic Cruz in the first round of that last fight. That, gave him a little bit of luster, but I think he's at the end of the line as well too. Frankie Edgar, obviously his better days are behind him. I don't want to see him get hurt anymore. And that's it for bantamweight. Does anybody really see anyone challenging Volkonovsky outside of Max Holloway and maybe Yaya Rodriguez? Brian Ortega, I think, fought the best fight that he could. Still lost that fight convincingly. He was working, of course, that deep guillotine several times. So that was fun. Giga in the future, I don't see it this year, but Giga could be a contender. I think he'll probably fight for the title one day. Calvin Kattar, we're just going to have to see that fight against Giga. If he can come back and be better than he was before, dominate Giga Chikadze, and just show that fight against Max Holloway was not who he is. I mean, maybe he's a future contender, but Max just beat the brakes off of him. Edson Barbosa, I think, unfortunately, his time has passed. Alex Caceres, always fun to watch. He's got a fight coming up, but not a contender. Same thing with Shane Burgos, a couple of these other guys. Like I said, if you want to talk about any of these guys in these weight divisions, feel free to stop me. But otherwise, we're going to move on to lightweight. I just said bantamweight was the deepest division. I mean, lightweights might still be in a tie for it. It was the deepest division for so long. Diego Ferreira, he might be done in the UFC, especially after missing weight the last time. Brad Riddle, that's probably about where he's going to stay. Kind of like gatekeeper. Arman Saryukin, I don't really remember much about him. I know Gamrot just got launched to the moon. Rafael Fiziev, I like this guy. I like his leg kicks. I like a lot of stuff about him. He could give anybody trouble. Gregor Gillespie, he's a hit and miss fighter. When he's not beating anybody in the world, he's losing to Kevin Lee. Conor McGregor, 9th ranked in the lightweight division, about to get a title shot possibly. I mean, I guess you can't count the guy out. It's hard to see him even making lightweight at this point. Dan Hooker's always a couple wins away from a big fight. Tony Ferguson, he's at the end of his career. I'd like to see him fight somebody closer to a Donald Cerrone stature than the Michael Chandler fight that we kind of got teased. Rafael Dos Anjos, if he's just around to make some money, I mean, I guess let him make some money, but he's not going to be a contender again. Michael Chandler, I mean, we've shown his finesse. He just had an incredibly fun fight against Justin Gaethje. If Oliveira is still champion after a few fights, I could see Chandler and Oliveira getting ran back. So Chandler's definitely in the mix. Islam Makhachev, I think if there's any fighter in this weight division that is likely to be a long-standing champion. And what I mean by long-standing champion at lightweight is 3 defenses or more, which I believe Khabib has the record at lightweight with 3. It's him, but he's going to fight Beneil Dariush. Dariush is very tough too. He can compete with anybody on any given night. Dustin Poirier, if he fights again, I don't think it's going to be at lightweight. Hopefully that fight between him and Nate ends up happening. Nate not in any rankings anywhere, by the way, and I understand why. And then Justin Gaethje, I think, is the legitimate number 1 contender. He's the second best lightweight in the world, in my opinion. I think he should fight Charles Oliveira next. Moving on to welterweight. I'm going to be a little quicker now. Ponzinibbio way down there. He could get a couple wins, but and get back up there. I don't think he's going to be contending in 2022, though. Stephen Thompson getting older, closer to retirement. Neil Magny, same kind of thing. Michael Chiesa, same kind of thing. Jeff Neal is kind of this middle-of-the-road guy. Khamzat Chimaev, a lot of buzz around this guy. He's finally going to fight a contender soon, and I think that'll give us an idea of exactly where he stands in that division. I think he could. A lot of people think he could be a future champion. I think so too. Thank you, Shamu. I think he could also be a future champion there, though. Jorge Masvidal, he's got a couple of good money fights left in him. Sean Brady, he's an up-and-comer. He could end up really getting up into that top echelon in 2022, I believe. Bilal Muhammad just jumped 5 spots. He could give anybody problems. Vicente Luque, guy is always entertaining. I really don't see him matching up well against Kamaru, but he might end up fighting Leon Edwards, and if he gets past Edwards, he's going to get the title shot, because God knows Leon Edwards is never getting a title shot. Gilbert Burns and Colby Covington, we've been there, done that. Unfortunately for Colby to get any kind of title shot, Usman's going to either have to retire, get beat, or he's going to have to go to a different division. Let's run on to middleweight. Man, we got a banger coming up. I cannot wait. This is one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most. Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker 2. I don't think Robert Whittaker was in the game mentally when he fought Israel the first time. I think he's retooled. And honestly, I think Israel's in a lot of trouble. I think Robert might get him this time. Other than that, though, Israel, he's beaten everybody. You got Jared Cannonier, Derek Brunson, Paulo Costa, Jack Hermanson. Sean Strickland could possibly make a run, but you can see how this division is kind of, there's not a whole lot going on when you see how many fighters are going up or down in rank. The only change in here is number 14 and 15, Holland and Weidman. Gastelum, I think his time has passed. Uriah Hall, definitely. Darren Till, overranked, never was. Just my opinion, don't hate me for it. Paulo Costa, mentally, I just don't think he's going to get over that hump with Israel. I think it would have to be Usman would have to challenge Adesanya if Adesanya gets past Whittaker the second time. And that's a big if. Light heavyweight. Let's go over here to light heavyweight. I think Jan deserves the rematch. But first, it's going to be Yuri or Raychik. This is a much more competitive division since John Jones left. But it's still just like these top 4 guys. Glover, the champion, former champion. Yuri Prochazka, like I said, will probably get the next shot. Rakic is in there. He could definitely get a shot after that. It's too bad Thiago Santos had those injuries after the John Jones fight. I think that might have buried him. Anthony Smith, I just don't think he's championship material. I think he's top 4 contender. I think that's as high as he gets again in his career. Whittaker has the best chance to dethrone Izzy. In my opinion, absolutely, King James. At middleweight, yeah, I think Whittaker can do it. If I was making odds for that fight, I would still have to make Adesanya a favorite. But, I mean, it's probably like a plus 170 Adesanya, minus 140 Robert Whittaker. Minus 170 Israel Adesanya, plus 140 Whittaker. I did that backwards. But I think that's closer than a 2-1. Dominic Reyes, kind of the X factor over there. He could always, regroup, retool, and get back up there. He's still young. Magomed Ankalaev, he's got some skills too. Johnny Walker trying to retool. He's got a fight coming up against Jamal Hill. If he just looks like a whole new fighter, he's always got that power that can take anybody out. But really, I think it's Glover, Yan, Yuri, and Rakic in that division. King James, I agree. All right, King James. And now we're here to talk about the heavyweight division. A lot of fun fights still over here. Like Tai Tuivasa, Tom Aspinall is really fun to watch. Marcin Tybura, because Tuivasa and Tybura just... Same thing with Walt Harris. They all just have that crazy power. Augustus Sakai, always interesting too. Guys that are not going to fight for the title, but just must-watch fighters. Blago Ivanov, a guy, he's a grinder. He's the biggest grinder, I think, there at heavyweight. He could beat a lot of different guys on any given night. Got a great skill set. Doesn't have the same pop and excitement as a lot of these other guys, though. Chris Daukaus, I think, is overrated. I got to see him beat another contender before I'm going to sign off on him. He just got sent to the moon by Derek Lewis, which I told everyone was going to happen. I was very, very confident in that fight. Curtis Blades, one of these guys that he gets there, and he just can't get over the hump. He's been knocked out twice by Francis. You can bet he's going to be rooting for Cyril Gane, because that's his only chance of getting a title shot again. Derek Lewis, of course, just lost to Cyril Gane. Who knows, though? One more big knockout, and they might book him and Francis again. Should Francis resign, which I think could be a long shot at this time. Francis's management said they haven't talked to the UFC within 6 months, which is insane when you're talking about your champion. Somebody needs to drop their ego and reach out, one side or the other. Holy jeez. Stipe, my favorite fighter. Do I want to see him fight Francis Ngannou again? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's a scary fight for him. I think he's getting older. I believe he's 39. Maybe he comes in heavier. Maybe he does something against Ngannou, especially in a bigger cage. I think that smaller cage also, really helped Francis in a lot of those wins. That's something that's not talked about enough. That Apex 25-foot cage as opposed to the 30-foot cage. I think that bigger cage is definitely going to be in Cyril Gane's favor. But I think Stipe's got maybe 1 or 2 more fights left in him. I'd love to see him win the championship again before he leaves. I just don't see him beating Francis. Shemir says that whole thing is weird. Oh, the 25-foot octagon? All right, guys, but 2022, I really do think it's Showtime's time. I think you're going to see more championship boxing over there, like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, which was on the Showtime pay-per-view. They have Devin Haney over there. They just had, God, who was it that just fought over there on one of their pay-per-views? Oh, they had Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford, wasn't them. But they have a lot of good fighters over there. Charles Barkley in the house. What's up? The punch that dropped Stipe was fluky. I could see him implementing the game plan like he did the first time and beating him again. It could be a different fight in a bigger cage again. I think that 25-foot cage is just, it's such a favor for somebody with the power like Francis. UFC and Francis. Yeah, it's, if Bellator could sign Francis Ngannou, what a signing. They would have to try to get somebody else over there, I guess. The only problem is, who the hell is he going to fight over there in Showtime? You would almost have to bring somebody else with him. And I don't know who that is. He would dominate over there. What's he going to do, fight 50-year-old Fedor? He would go over there more for the boxing than for the MMA. And then that would just be kind of this caveat that, yeah, we have Francis as a boxer, and every 6 months he's going to knock out an MMA dude. So I think that would be the game there. And then Francis, there was one more thing I was to talk about over there. With Francis, and now I forgot. Just get the deal done, guys. UFC, if he wants to fight Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, make it happen. You're gonna lose one of your biggest stars over pride, and I just I get it, but I don't. If I'm in the position, I let Francis take the fight. You let Conor take the fight. You already opened that can of worms. Why not let Francis go over there and do the fight? I do think Francis beats Cyril Gane. I think he knocks him out inside of 4. If it's a competitive fight still in the 4th round, it could get tougher for Francis because Gane's going to have the bigger gas tank, I believe. But big things for Showtime. Anybody else have any other subjects or anything you want to talk about coming into fighting? I know we talked about what's coming out in boxing. We just had a horrible pay-per-view. Luis Ortiz and some bum I've never heard of. I didn't even watch it. But next fight's up. Next stream is Friday. Showtime Next Generations. I will bring that up real quick. I want to bring up the Showtime boxing card coming up on Friday because a lot of people probably don't know about it because it's a Next Generation show. But it is the first time they've had a card, and it might be the first time anybody's had a boxing card televised, that every single fighter is undefeated. So we're going to see a lot of prospects on this card coming up. Try and bring it up. Showtime Boxing. Oh, apparently I'm not signed in on here on my computer. I do pay for Showtime, but it's not gonna... some reason it's not giving me that card. I will bring it up somewhere else here. I know where it's at. What is this Friday? Today's Wednesday, January 7th. Okay, here we go. Not as much about this as I thought there was, but yes, 7th. Showbox kicks off 2022 with a triple header featuring 6 undefeated fighters with a combined record of 80-0, 57 knockouts. First time in program history that 6 fighters on the same card are all undefeated. The main event, Dominican Republic, Luis Nunez. I like this kid a lot. I've seen him fight battles Carlos Arrieta in a 10-round lightweight bout. Co-feature beats Starling Castillo. You probably heard that name out there. It's one of the biggest up-and-coming prospects at lightweight. Taking on Otar Aranasian. And in the telecast opener, KO artist Edwin de los Santos faces William Foster III in an 8-round, 130-pound bout live on Showtime. So if you don't get Showtime right now, go over there, do the free preview for that. If they have it, I have a pending Showtime sponsorship. So hopefully, if you can't just get the 30-day trial right now, hopefully before the fights start on Friday, they should be a partner of the channel. So I can get you a 30-day free trial then. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm really looking forward to 2022 MMA. God, I have missed UFC these last couple of weeks. I did not realize how much I was going to miss it. Looking forward to those boxing matches in just 2 days. We're just 2 days away from getting some fights, guys. So I'm excited about that. Okay, what's up, King James? Ferguson, I'm calling out Chandler and openly looking to dance. Thank you, PBR Street Gang. Thanks for calling in. Thank you, everybody, for calling in. Real quick shout out to all the premium members this year, all the subscribers, all the love that you showed for this channel in 2021. I really appreciate you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to even a bigger 2022. As always, I love you. I respect you, and I'll see your fine asses next time.